Hello everyone, Benderdin here with another Hero Siege video. Today we are doing the final build guide of the season. This is Lightning Pally at basically peak endgame. I'm going to show you guys exactly how I am pulling off about 65 billion single target sustain. As you can see, this is no cooldowns, as always, and actually show you guys where there is room to grow with this particular build. Um, I'm also going to cover the mercenaries. I know a lot of people have been asking about that, so I want to cover how you can build your mercenary two different ways, either as a magic find bot or as an aura tank bot. So there's a lot to cover in this video. Let's get right to it. So first off, we are going to cover what your end game skills is going to look like. This is my recommendation. Again, you can vary it based off of your needs, however you need to facilitate it. At this point in the end game, we are fully maxing out into int. It is our primary ability. It just gives us the best damage from what I've tested and played with. Uh, of course, the tree is pretty much as is, throughout the gearing and leveling process. Of course, maxing out Lightning Fury, Divine Storm, Vengeance, excuse me, and of course, Eye of the Storm, Point into Ball Lightning for mobility, Holy Shock Aura for our Lightning Break and Lightning Buff, a point there into Thor's Fury for an additional cooldown for some extra bonus damage. I've actually opted to put excess points here in Thunder Shield. This now has almost 25% to both physical and magical damage reduction when this is used. And so just with that on, I actually have 69% physical and 62% magical damage reduction. So pretty strong. We end up very, very tanky with this endgame setup. Now, of course, point into Divine Wisdom, a point into Light's Embrace, point into Holy Retribution. This is for our mana sustain, and the cast rate helps with our ball lightning a little bit. Again, personal preference here. You don't need it. I recommend it. The last one, and this is a changeover, is Holy Nova. Now, we're putting a point into this exclusively for the heal and the damage reduction buff, okay, which I'm going to cover here in the subtrees. Let me go ahead and show you the important ones. Of course, Lightning Fury. Now, you'll notice that some of these are over cap. This is because, of course, I have my overloaded dice, which gives one to all Lightning Fury subtree skills that already have a point in it. So bear that in mind as you're watching this. But this is the tree as it goes: 5 here, 2, 3, 2, 3, and 5 points here, low resistance. Very straightforward on that. For Holy Shock Aura, we're doing 2 here, 2. Max out your Ruptured Lightning for the Lightning Break. Max out Friendly Electron Flow for the Lightning Buff. 2 points. Get up here to Lightning Tether to max that out. And then a single point into Charge Mark to inflict Stasis. That's where we're inflicting our Stasis from. For Ball Lightning, just for the additional mobility, we're just moving up, getting 5 points here into Rapid Retreat for the extra movement speed and defense after landing when using Ball Lightning. That's a 5-second buff, I believe. 3 points here to have a chance to render yourself immune to all damage when you land using Ball Lightning. And then over here, the decreased mana cost as well. Pretty straightforward. We're just using that as a mobility option to help kind of boost our movement speed. Now, as for Holy Nova, I want to show you guys this. This is purely for the heal. So, allies healed by Holy Nova take reduced damage. There's 30% damage reduction. That's physical and magic damage reduction. So we cap that out, move up, get the Holy Nova heals you for a portion of your missing life. I've put the remaining points into Magic Find on this. We don't really need a whole lot of the other options here. And then 2 points to move up into Remote Prayer. Holy Nova now heals all allies within the same area with increased power. So we're actually getting a pretty decent chunk of life when we use it. Right now I've got it at 1100, and as you can see, it goes pretty quick. Every other cast of it is doing 2200, so we're healing pretty quickly. We get smacked and we can heal up pretty quick. And as you saw when I use it, there is Crusade Allies. That is the damage reduction buff. So between that and Thunder Shield, we end up capped out at our full 75% physical and magic damage reduction. We just need to pop that every now and then. The good thing is, while you're attacking, you can just really quick pop and go right back into attacking and keep yourself really well topped off defensively. And as you can see, we're actually all the way up at 90% the cap for resistances on all of our resists. So this is how we have our attributes and skills at the end game. Let me go ahead and show you guys the gear. So now moving on to the gear, I'm going to go through my relics, the main gear, charms, and then potions. So for the relics, we have Shiv, Lightning Globe, Orb of Lightning, Death Scythe, and Half-Eaten Mochi. And I've had a lot of people throughout the season go, why are you using Orb of Lightning? We can get our lightning res capped other ways. Well, by using the Orb of Lightning, it frees up space in our charms and in our gear to where we don't need certain pieces to hit our minus enemy res cap. As it is right now, I'm actually at 105. If I did not have, like, the El Patrons, I would be even shorter on that and only have 79. I would need other pieces in here to hit my res cap. So getting the correct pieces, keeping the Orb of Lightning, once we get our endgame pieces, we really kind of need it there, and it frees up a lot of space in our other gear. Okay, so onto our gear. Of course, a Murray. I've got mine 5-starred at the moment. Of course, attack speed, jewels in that. I am working on getting 12 attack speed jewels to put into it to really push this build in the damage. Um, Currently, with buffs going, with all of, like, my triggers like Shiv and Death Scythe and my Emblem of Daemon, I run 5.85 attacks per second, so I'm 100% certain I can get this build over 6 attacks per second, which is really strong. Um, really good attacks out of that. This is going to pair perfectly with our chest piece. The roll that I got on mine is really, really good. I forged it with attack speed. And while the actual attack speed roll was pretty low, the rest of it was solid. So I decided to keep it and decided to start working on star leveling. Um, Part of the reason that attack speed is so good is because we're using Magistriker for our augment. A lot of people have asked, well, what about Tempest? Or what about Monstrosity? The problem with those is they tend to kind of wax and wane. They spike damage. When we're using Magistriker, it is a flat. At rank 7, it's 21% increased magic skill damage per attack per second. So once I get 6 attacks per second, it will be a flat 126 increased magic skill damage. Just inherent. I won't have to do anything to achieve that, and I won't have to worry about building stacks. So I very much like Magistriker. I've found that compared to especially Monstrosity, which was the big augment for last season, once you get about 5 to 5.5 attacks per second, Magistriker just maintains better compared to Monstrosity. And like I said, it's the same problem when we run into Tempest Strikes. It's such a low frequency that it's just we get that spike, and it's not enough to really justify giving up the consistency and damage that we see out of Magistriker. So Gabriel's Broken Wings, a lot of people have went, oh, well, what about Tyrell's? You know, have you tried it? I have. We actually get better damage out of Gabriel's. That being said, if you want the defensive option, Tyrell's is going to be better, okay? And when I say that, I mean to the tune of an extra 5,000 life, depending on how how you socket it. Um, you don't have to. Gabriel's is, in my opinion, solid enough, especially when we're looking at this point in the game, running almost 6,500 health, 90% all res, and 75% physical and magical damage reduction. I feel like we don't need that additional health pool. You may, that's your call. So obviously we're running the Lucifer's Crown. Um, this helm is just too broken not to. It's the best in slot for everyone. Um, and especially, if you are the kind of player who doesn't use teleport, it's an obvious choice, which is why you'll see here, like all of the flow runes that I have in all of my gear, is how I get to the 90% cap. So each flow rune gives plus 2% to maximum all resistances. And so by doing that, we can hit that 90% cap, which, every percentage point increases our damage while using the Lucifer's Crown. So you want to get your resistances capped all the way up to 90% and make sure that you're filling them out completely, which is where St. Tomi's comes in. St. Tomi's is so important for this. As you can see, mine rolled really, really good. Not perfect. The attributes are a little bit low, but I decided to just go with it. Um, Getting that all resist and the vibrance aura that we get from it, uh, there it is, gives an additional 38% plus the resistances that we get on it. As you can see, socketed, I'm getting 129% plus that 38, so 167% all resistances out of that. When you're getting that minus 225 from the helm, this offsets it significantly. It's basically a necessity, almost. You can work around it, but for our build, it's really solid, and I recommend doing it this way. Now, for our necklace, we're running Steve's. I actually rolled an almost perfect one. Um, Perfect on the attributes, perfect on the percentage. Um, a little weak on the magic damage reduction taken, but more than good enough. Still working on getting that 5-starred. Obviously, as you can see, I have an El Patrons slammed with attributes. This was actually a mirrored one, but if you can get your hands on one, do it. Obviously, Storm Loop, working on getting that capped out. A lot of people have asked me, what about St. Aaron's? Okay. Why don't you use St. Aaron's? Because of two very key elements. One, the lightning skills, we actually get almost the same benefit out of lightning skills compared to all skills. And so we actually get a little bit better damage when it's the 5 lightning skills compared to the 4 all skills. The other big element to this is the minus element or minus lightning resistance, minus enemy lightning res. Um, right now, mine isn't rolled as high, but when you compare it to the roll that you can get on a St. Aaron's, as you saw, my minus enemy res is cutting it really close. You actually need that higher roll to give yourself that wiggle room that you need. So overall, I found that that Storm Loop is the right call, especially a perfect rolled one. It's going to fit better into the build, and again, give you a little bit of wiggle room compared to other pieces. Emblem of Daemon, couple skills. The demon form is huge on this, giving us a 44% increased attack speed for the level 18 demon form. I believe it is capable of going up to 20 on the demon form. Um, this one that I rolled, it's almost perfect on the burning damage. It really, really good one. For our gloves, we're doing rim skins. This one rolled really solid, but I actually have another pair that I'm trying to that I'm working on re-rolling to try and get it hit basically perfect so that I can go through and 5-star it. But for right now, those work just fine. Really, really strong gloves for us. The boots, obviously, we're using Chaos Walkers. Try and get as high, 6 skill, 35% extra damage, and the 40% magic skill damage. the ones that I have are really solid, so I just went with that, and I'll start star uh, star leveling those in a bit. All right, so moving on to the charms. Of course, we have a lot of the ones that you would expect to see. Hello, it's me, Steve. Soul Collector, obviously overloaded dice, Paramount, Annihilator, Torch, Fulgurite, Airmelon, a Chaos Gemstone. This one I actually want to re-roll at some point, but the 2 to all skills and 38 int is actually really solid for 2 charm slots, so I went with it. Torsten's Anvil, Mysterious Monkey Paw. This is actually kind of a surprise one that I wasn't expecting to fit into the build, but it works really good for us. The 2 to all skills and up to 40 attributes for 2 spots, 2 charm slots, is really solid here. We get a lot of damage out of this. So another one that I have to re-roll a little bit, but it's a good addition to the build. And right now I'm using the Tablet of Awakening for the resistances to hit that line. Eventually, with proper rolls on other pieces, I will be able to, like, my Fulgurite, if I can get another, like, 15 out of that, finish my star levels on St. Tomies, maybe even roll resistances from Chaos Gemstone, I can swap that out for all attribute no gems and get a bonus 50 to all attributes instead. So we'll see how that pans out. That's one of the ways that I can work a little bit extra damage in. Now, for the potions, these are the 4 that I recommend. Of course, we don't need to worry about mana regeneration. St. Tomies is taking care of that. We have our Holy Nova for our heal. So for the potions, we're going to use the Maggot Eye Elixir for the attack speed and attack rating, Bottle of Vodka for the all skills, Coffee Container for the extra damage to burning, and the Rad Bull for attack speed. Plus the movement speed is a little bit helpful. These are what I've found to overall give us the best increase in damage. And part of the reason some people have asked, like, oh, why are you using Rad Bull instead of, say, Elixir of Death? Well, because while we have Magic Striker, we're double dipping on the attack speed. So not only are we getting extra attack speed, we're getting extra magic skill damage. So that's why we're running with those. All right, so onto the hero tree. As you can see, we move our way up. I recommend immediately hooking left, snagging these 2 nodes here for int and magic skill damage. Move up. Now, this is kind of where there's a little deviation. I recommend jumping over and snagging the charm slot. The reason why is you need to make sure that you have room to fit in Soul Collector. Okay, so get that done as quick as you can. But other than that, we basically beeline up to the top. You want to get, of course, your increased experience gain, 2 skills, the all res and max res, 25 attributes. Now, the movement speed, once you've gotten both of the charm slots, you don't necessarily need the movement speed. But for right now, until I have enough points to reach the 20 attack speed node over here to the left, I'm keeping it there. But once I get to a point where I can actually swap those points out, I'll snag that. It's worth more, and then finish up the movement speed. But we want to go left here afterwards. You can pick up these 2 nodes again with while you're still working through the tree. Extra mana, extra life, nothing major, but it's better than throwing points into dexterity while you're traveling along. You can also pick up this node here, the dexterity increased critical strike damage. Doesn't really do us much good. We just don't do anything with dex or crit. Same thing here on the right, down at the bottom of the tree. We do get a little bit of the out of the strength, but I mean, you could pick that up much, much later, like deep towards 100 points kind of vibe. Um, there's also this node here for armor and defense, which is not a bad pickup. Over on the right side, there's not a whole lot that we realistically need. The energy, mana after kill, and mana steal, we just don't need it once we're fully built. Um, Same with the skill haste and faster cast rate. You could pick this up later to get Thor's Fury off of cooldown faster. Totally fine. Same with the mana cost decrease. We're just at a point we just don't need it. Once you've got St. Tomies, it's unnecessary. You really don't need to spend your points. You could also look at spending more points towards your glyphs to try and get those boosted up. Kind of personal preference there. Now, for the mercenary, there's two ways that you can go with this. As I said earlier, there is the Magic Find setup, and there is the Tank Aurabot setup. Um, for the Magic Find setup, basically what you want to take and do is effectively the setup is you're going to be pretty well solid with this. Babylon's Fall is just such a paramount piece. You can get up to 300% increased magic find off of this one piece of gear. It's just an absolute bliss. There's no arguing it. Leprechaun's Greed, 5 sockets on it with up to 40% magic find. You can put 5 ists in this at 15 a piece and wind up with 115 on a perfectly rolled one. That's not including star levels. Same thing with the bucket. You can end up with 105 there. Um, excuse me. Death's Mirror is kind of the same way. Um, you can get the 50 from level, 40 on the roll, and another 45 on the from the sockets. So there's another 135 right there. Gloves giving you 40%, plus the belt giving you up to 50. And then Pearlescent Dreams are phenomenal because not only do they give a good amount of defensive stats, including resistances, but it also gives up to 40% magic find, and it gives you Holy Aura. So we're really double dipping on that on the magic find side because it's going to give you the magic find and the offensive aura as well. So this kind of setup, fully like properly rolled, socketed, and star leveled, you can easily get 600 plus magic find out of this setup. So not a bad way to set your merc if you really want to. For the tank aura bot, when it comes to mercenary, there's a couple of things. Now I'm missing one piece. I have not managed to get my hands on the Crown of Doom. Um, this item has proved to be very elusive this season. It's only off of King Rakul on Inferno. This is your Bis option. Um, if you can get your hands on one, like I said, I've just haven't been able to get my hands on one. Um, but the rest of the pieces, so Aurora's Might for the Lunar Aura level, we want that to help us on the gear side when it comes to Lucifer's Crown. Tayrell's just a tanky option, tons and tons of health. That's the real big thing there. St. Halgar's same way, very good defensive shield, lots of damage reduction and health. Very big for us. The gloves, I'm using the Rakul Stone Hands for the maximum wall res. I think that's a pretty viable use for it. You do get some vitality and armor out of it as well. Um, so I like it for that reason. Saves you on flow runes, which are very expensive right now on season. What they're like 25 mil a piece, I think. Um, the belt, I recommend the Komodos for the again life, massive life based off of level, physical damage reduction, and percentage life. And then the pearlescent boots obviously are the obvious, they're the obvious choice for the holy aura that we're getting off of that. Um, with proper, uh, you know, proper socketing and whatnot, some flow runes, the right helm. As it is right now, my merc has just short of 25,000 health, maxed 90% physical and magical damage reduction, and he's way overcapped on resistances. So with flow runes in there, I could easily have him capped at 90% to all res as well. Really tanky, hard to kill, can survive, can stand in damn near anything. Um, for the skills, it's pretty straightforward on both of them. This, whether it's the Magic Find or the Aurabot setup, this is the build that I recommend. Put a point into everything, one single point, because you're getting all those plus to skills, and then go for all of the damage reduction and the sustainability. So things like increasing your armor, damage reduction, dodge. health regeneration, and the remaining points put into lifesteal. And this is going to help keep your merc alive far more often than not. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you found this information helpful. Gets you out there really pushing endgame content, blasting through everything, or even pushing wormholes if that's your goal. Um, Again, thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe, comment, check me out live, twitch.tv/Benderdin, or hit me up in the Discord if you're not in the Hero Siege Discord. I'm in there all the time, answering questions and whatnot. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for more content, including some Season 9 beta stuff. I'm really excited about that. Um, yeah, have a good one. I'll see you out there. Good luck. And as always, game on.